Hi, this is Will Robinson, November 20th, day 81, and this is my Bible in the Year entry for today. Going to start off with the Old Testament, Numbers 13:26 to 14:45. Now, this is very long and very dense, and it took me like 2 hours to read this. But it's all about the scouts that came back to the gang. Moses telling them what lies ahead, and it's like, oh man, it's brilliant. The land is full of fruit and honey, just as promised. Fab. But there are these people live here that we've been warned about, and they go, all right, can we attack them? Can we? Oh no, we would lose in a fight against them. Okay. So there was a bit of an uproar about that, and then the people rebel. That night, all the people of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to him, "If only we had died in Egypt, or in this desert. Why is the Lord bringing us to his land, only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" So, because it's the only way to get to this promised land that they think they're trying to get to, is to pick up their swords and fight for it. But the people there are bigger, badder, and stronger than they are, and people are a bit peeved at that. So Moses was kind of like pacing back and forth and wondering what to do about this, and he says to the Lord, "If you put these people to death all at one time, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, 'The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land, and he promised them on oath, so he slaughtered them in the desert.'" Not very pleasant. What he's basically saying there is, to God, is, if we go up there and we fight them, then, people are just going to take it wrong and say, hang on a minute, they're going to think it was you. They're going to think that we did something wrong and you slaughtered us, which isn't very good publicity. And then they carry on having this conversation, and then this is 20 now. The Lord replied, I have forgiven them as you asked. Nevertheless, as surely as I live, and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of the men who saw my glory, and the miraculous signs I performed in Egypt and in the desert, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised their oath to their forefathers. So God's just saying, you will get to the promised land. I'm not going to tell you where it is yet. But all of these rebels that are saying, we've got to go there and fight, we can beat them, and everything, and getting into a really negative mindset against God and against Moses and against what they've been told. The Lord's just saying, I'm just going to smite them for, going against us and not believing in it. And he goes on to say, how long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites. Sounds a bit like a kick up behind. Saying, I'm God, I can hear what you're all saying about me. I'm not deaf, and I'm God. As surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very things I heard you say. In this desert your bodies will fall, every one of you 20 years old or more, who was counted in the census and who has grumbled against me. Not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb son of Jephunneh and Joshua son of Nun. And for your children that you said will be taken as plunder, I will bring them back in to enjoy the land you have rejected. But you, your bodies, not necessarily a soul, but definitely your bodies, will fall in this desert. Your children will be shepherds here for 40 years, suffering for your unfaithfulness, until the last of your bodies lies in the desert. for 40 years, 1 year for each of the 40 days you explored the land. You will suffer for your sins, and know what it is like to have me against you. I, the Lord, has spoken, and I will certainly do these things. And I will certainly do these things to this whole wicked community, which is banded together against me. They will meet their end in the desert. Here they will die. So he's saying, kind of elaborating on what he said before. All these people that are forgetting what I've said, and forgetting what Moses said, and forgetting what other people have warned them about it, what the scouts have said, that they can't fight them, still wanting to fight them, and still getting into a negative mindset against them. He's just saying, they're all going to die. They're never ever going to reach the promised land, and that's their punishment. Very harsh, but I suppose it kind of fits it. But he then goes on, God then goes on to say, you will fall by the sword if you go out and fight them. Moses, mate, if you fight them, you will lose. And I'm God, I'm saying this, you will lose. Nevertheless, in their presumption, they went up towards the high hill country, but neither Moses nor the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. So all the rebels then went up, not listening to anything that Moses or God had said. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in that hill country came down and attacked them and beat them down all the way to Hormah. And I've actually put a little smiley face saying fail next to it and highlighted that because I love that. So if somebody warns you and they're God, don't do it. New Testament. Luke 4:14-37. Jesus rejected at Nazareth. 14. Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news about him spread through the whole countryside. He taught in their synagogues, and everyone praised him. Then he went to Nazareth to preach on the Sabbath day, and it says, as this was his custom. So it just kind of reminds you, he was a Jew as well, and he was a strict Jew, and he was a good boy when it came to religion, and he did what he was supposed to do. And it just reminds you that as this was his custom, because he's Jewish, he goes to the synagogue on a Sunday, and he sometimes preaches. It's not Sunday, sorry, Sabbath day. He gets this scroll handed to him with what he's supposed to preach on, and it's from Isaiah, and it's a little verse which I like. The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners, and recovery of sight for the blind, to release the oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favour. That's a bit shocking, just randomly handing Jesus something, and it's exactly what he's been put on the earth to do. That is pretty cool. So he rolled up the scroll, gave it back to the attendant, and sat down. The eyes of everyone in the synagogue were fastened on him, and he began by saying to them, today this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing. So, you are witnessing what I've been given. Listen carefully, because this is what I'm also here to do. It's not coincidence. God's put that there. 22. All spoke well of him and were amazed at the gracious words that came from his lips. Isn't this Joseph's son? They asked. This is the son of a carpenter. Nice one, Nice going. But Jesus says, some quotes like, surely you will quote this prophet to me. Physician, heal yourself. Do here in your hometown what you have heard. What we have heard that you did in Capernaum. I can't pronounce that. So he knows that they're going to turn around and say, go on, if you're such a big shot, if you're, quoting this verse as you said, it was meant for you, then do something, prove yourself. And he's saying, yeah, I know you're going to say that, and I'm not going to do it, because he doesn't have to prove himself, he's Jesus. And they get really furious about this, and it actually uses the word furious. They got up, drove him out of the town. This is his hometown, this is where he was born, and took him to the brow of the hill on which the town was built, in order to throw him down the cliff. That is just shocking. He was born there, and he's just preached there, and because he knows that they were going to ask him stupid questions, and he said no in advance, as he had every right to, because he doesn't have to do anything. They got furious. They beat him up, dragged him up a hill, and threatened to throw him off the cliff. And I love this. This is verse 30, my favourite bit through the whole of the day. Verse 30. So he walked right through the crowd and went on his way. They dragged him all the way up there, and then somehow they just stepped back to let him pass. Just let him walk back down completely unscathed. It was brilliant. 31. This is the bit where Jesus drives out an evil spirit. This is a bit later now. Then he went down to Capernaum, a town in Galilee, and on the Sabbath began to teach the people. They were amazed at his teaching, because his message had authority. So they found it so good, because he was saying, don't do this, because I am Jesus. He's showing a sense of leadership, in a way, rulership. And that's why they liked it. In the synagogue, there was a man possessed by a demon, an evil spirit. He cried out at the top of his voice, "Ha! What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? If you come to destroy us, I know who you are, the Holy One of God." 35. "Be quiet," Jesus said sternly. "Come out of him." Then the demon threw the man down before him, and all came out without injuring him. Two things I've got from this. One thing is, not everybody who says and acknowledges that Jesus is the Son of God is Christian. And the second thing, Jesus has the power to do pretty much anything. Yeah, God is so awesome that all he needs to actually say is, a sentence, and he can completely exorcise people. He can get the demons out of people. He can do pretty much anything with just a few words, and that's really cool. And all the people around him were completely fascinated, as I was at this. And he said, "What is this teaching? With authority and power he gives orders to evil spirits, and they come out," which is cool. Psalm. This is something I personally struggle with. I don't usually get anything out of Psalm. I read it, but I just, scan it, But today, my lovely father has translated it into the Message version. I was kind of, not expecting to get anything out of it anyway, but I actually really, really did. And for the first time in the world, I got Psalms. This is Psalms 36, verse 1 to 12, which is the whole bit, in the Message. "The God rebel tunes into sedation, all ears eager to sin. He has no regard for God. He stands insolent before him. He has smooth-talked himself into believing that his evil will never be noticed. Words gutter from his mouth, dishwasher dirty. Can't remember when he did anything decent. Every time he goes to bed, he fathers another evil plot. When he's on the loose in the streets, nobody's safe. He plays with fire and doesn't care who gets burnt. His love is meteoric. His loyalty is astronomic. His purpose titanic. His verdicts oceanic. Yet in his largeness, nothing gets lost. Not a man, not a mouse, slips through the cracks. How exquisite your love, O God! How eager we are to run under your wings, to eat our fill at the banquet as you fill our tankards with Eden spring water. You're a fountain of cascading light, and you open our eyes to it. Keep on loving your friends. Do your work in welcoming hearts. Don't let the bullies kick me around, the moral midgets slap me down. Send the upstarts sprawling flat on their faces in the mud." Wow. That's pretty powerful stuff. We've got two pieces here. The first bit was saying, like the sinner and what he gets up to. And the second bit, which is 5 to 6, God's love is meteoric, on from there. There's like kind of two sides to it. But it's really, really good when it's translated into the Message. And if you want to print you out one of these in the Message, if you haven't got a Message Bible yourself, I'd be more than happy to do that, and I'll give it to you Wednesday. So yeah, shoot me a text for what you got out of it, and cool. Ta-ra.